actually, where a lot of companies have changed things up a bit this year with screens with a notch and different things. Samsung's actually stuck with basically the same design. So if you're using an S8, you're maybe not going to notice much of a difference in terms of the design. Now, what we like is the fact that Samsung has kept all of the key features. So it's fully waterproof, IP68 rated, we've got USB-C, we've got a headphone jack, we've got quite a few things that other phones don't have. As you might have noticed, Samsung has moved the fingerprint scanner. It used to be beside the camera, and now it's below it in the center of the phone. So this is one of the things about the S8 that really annoyed us, was that you had to reach across the camera to get to the fingerprint. Now it's below, so it's a lot easier to use. Of course, that's the same on both phones. So in terms of specs, we're actually running, as you might expect, a lot of the same things as the regular S9. So inside, we're running an Exynos 9810 processor, although in some markets it's running the Snapdragon 845, but not in the UK. So one of the main differences is the screen size, of course. So the S9 Plus is running a 6.2 inch screen instead of a 5.8, so you can get that little bit of extra screen size if you feel like you're going to use it for a lot of different things, and you get that tall 18.5:9 aspect ratio. So other than the screen, the camera is one of the main differences. So it's got the same main sensor, so that's a 12 megapixel sensor with a dual aperture, which is really interesting. This is the first time we've seen this on a phone. So the aperture actually moves physically between f1.5 with it really wide open and f2.4. So it's going to adjust between those two apertures depending on your lighting conditions. So if I go outside and it's quite bright, the camera's going to adjust to f2.4 to get the best photo I can outside. As soon as I come inside and perhaps it's a bit darker, it's going to open up that aperture to let more light in and switch to f1.5. So that's really interesting, and it works really well. If you want to zoom in while you're taking a photo and you don't want to just use digital zoom, you can switch to the secondary camera. It's the same sort of dual camera setup that you'll find on some rivals, including the iPhone X. So if you feel like you're going to make use of that secondary camera, that's one reason to get the S9 Plus. You've got Android 8 Oreo and Samsung's interface with Bixby, so this button on the side will launch Bixby. You can't do anything else with it, and there's a bunch of Microsoft and Google and Samsung apps pre-installed, so software is nice and up to date. So really the last thing to mention that's different about the S9 Plus is the battery. So this is a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, whereas the S9 is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So you're going to get a little bit more battery life from this, even though it's running a slightly bigger display. So should you spend £130 extra on the Galaxy S9 Plus compared to its smaller brother? Well, it depends. Do you want the 6.2 inch screen, which is a bit bigger? Are you going to use that secondary telephoto camera? And do you want a bigger battery? If the answer is yes to all those three things, then you're going to be able to justify it. Otherwise, the S9 is the better all-rounder for most people. But that said, if you're comparing this to other big screen phones on the market, this is one of the best options you can buy right now.